With Donald Trump set to unveil his 2024 presidential campaign team on January 28th, the former U.S. president is reportedly looking to resurrect his social media accounts, including Facebook and Twitter. With access to his Twitter account back, NBC has reported that Trump's campaign is formally petitioning Facebook's parent company, Meta, to unblock his account. Trump was banned from prominent social media networks over his role in the January 6th U.S. Capitol riots 2 years ago. Trump's campaign reportedly wrote to Meta saying it believes that the ban on his account on Facebook has dramatically distorted and inhibited the public discourse. However, reports say that Trump's campaign did not threaten a lawsuit, instead focusing on the importance of free speech and petitioning Meta for, quote, a meeting to discuss the former president's reinstatement to the platform. Facebook and Twitter banned Donald Trump a day after a mob of his supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol as it was counting the electoral votes to certify Joe Biden's 2020 presidential victory. Facebook ultimately decided to institute a limited ban on Trump that would come up for a review after 2 years, starting on January 7th of this year. Twitter planned a permanent ban, but new owner Elon Musk reinstated Trump's account in November last year. Musk also criticized Twitter's previous leadership for the ban. Donald Trump, however, hasn't tweeted yet. For more on this, we are joined by Elizabeth Loris, author and political commentator. She is joining us live from Washington, D.C. Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining us. So it seems like Donald Trump does have plans to return to Twitter, at least. It makes sense considering the fact that he has such a strong following on the social media platform, over 80 million, and then on Facebook, something around 34 million followers, I believe, although he does have his own social media platform that he founded after being banned from these two platforms, Truth Social, but he really doesn't enjoy the same audience as he does on Twitter and Facebook. So, you know, it makes sense. Why not? Some people are so afraid of Donald Trump being back on social media.
Well, Donald Trump needs social media, of course, to get his message out. But more importantly, it's very important for his campaign. Facebook and Twitter were extremely important for him to raise cash in the 2016 campaign against Hillary Clinton. He raised an amazing amount of money in little bits and pieces, a few dollars here and there from his followers. So one importance is getting the message out, but the other one is for his campaign. Now, a lot of people have noticed that even though Musk lifted the ban on Twitter in November, that former President Trump has not tweeted yet. And so it appears that he's waiting for that prime moment to come out with that first tweet to make a big splash. And regarding Facebook, of course, he needs to have that ban lifted. It hasn't been lifted yet. And Nick Clegg, who is head of international operations for Facebook Meta, is saying, okay, we need to seriously consider lifting that ban.
Right. And, you know, it's interesting because Donald Trump himself is, as you mentioned, he really needs not only this platform to talk directly to his supporters and the American people, the voter, the electorate, but he really needs this for campaigning. At the end of the day, money talks. But what about in the issue of free speech? You know, I mean, this really comes, you know, ties into that at the end of the day, you know, how this was handled by social media companies, you know, banning Donald Trump, having other dictators, perhaps, of other countries, you know, be on these social media outlets. I think the conversation is really going to open up now that Republicans are at the helm of the House of Representatives. They're going to carry out these investigations. And I think maybe reinstating Donald Trump will open a Pandora's box regarding that as well.
Perhaps a Pandora's box. Republicans believe that just needs to be opened. They have long complained of a double standard on social media. And, a lot of people were calling, a lot of Trump critics, of course, were calling for him to be banned permanently from both Twitter and Facebook. But as you mentioned, a lot of other people were crying foul. Twitter left ISIS with accessibility for Twitter on Twitter for a very, very long time. They disappeared. Critics are saying, they're coming back in insidious ways here. And so there is a double standard. There is a bit of a problem, however, with Donald Trump getting back on Twitter. He started his own social media called Truth Social. And he said this is going to be a permanent thing. This is going to be an alternative to Twitter. If he goes and jumps back to Twitter, then shareholders of Truth Social will be perturbed, and there may actually be a securities fraud case there, and that he hoodwinked them and saying, this is going to be a permanent move, invest in my media platform. Oops, but now I'm going back to Twitter, which has many, many more followers. And so the value of Truth Social will decline.
Right. That was one aspect that many were wondering what will happen with Truth Social ultimately when Donald Trump when and if he decides to jump back on these two major social media platforms. Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining us on WION, and we hope to have you back and talk to you soon.
You're welcome.